Hello everyone, this is Robin Short with the Worley Training Department, and we have a special video today for deployment readiness and preparedness in light of the hurricane season, and perhaps you're a new adjuster and you've not deployed for a storm before. It's been a while since you've deployed. Just want to cover some basic information that will help you to be ready and be prepared for your storm deployment experience and give you an idea of what to expect, what you might have to work around or get through. We just wanted to give you a quick video on things to get ready for and things to be prepared for, so when you take off, you feel a little bit more confident. So let's see what we have here as far as a presentation for you, and we'll get things going here. Okay, great. Thanks for working for us. This is a big part of what we do as Worley, as CAT adjusters, and we really get into the whole time of year is what we wait for, is these storms. So then when you get a storm, and you get a call, you get the deployment, where do you go from here? So let's talk about what exactly do you do and when deploying for a storm. Well, the first thing, are you prepared to go? Be ready. Do you have your storm kit packed and ready to go? We'll talk about what your storm kit would look like and what you should have in it. Personal affairs should be in order. Keep in mind you might be gone for a couple of weeks or a couple of months or even longer. So make sure everything at home is secure. Everything is, you've got all your personal affairs in order. I would recommend checking, especially if you're a 1099 contractor adjuster. You might want to contact your accountant, advise them that you're going to have an uptick in your income, and make sure that you've got your setup, your business setup, or whatever you're doing, to make sure you've got the best tax shelters in place that you possibly can. I've had a lot of people just get in real big trouble over their taxes after a big storm. Be responsible for all your expenses, your housing, your tools, your transportation. You're responsible for all of that. Make sure you keep good track of all your expenses. Again, a lot of this you can write off at the end of the year. But most important, you are responsible for you and your product. So make sure that you are just zeroed in on taking care of yourself and your work product. As in any line of work, the better product that you have, the more work you're going to receive. All right, so active CAT duty. Like I say, you may be gone for several months, so plan ahead. You got to stay positive. Things are going to get bumpy and rough. You're going to have to be flexible. Things will change. Sometimes they change in 10 minutes. Sometimes the protocols will change every hour. So just be flexible with that. Plan your days and don't overbook your inspections. We're going to talk about how to book your inspections, how to set your schedules. Set good office days so you make sure that you've got time to catch up things. Maintain contact with the insured. That's very important. You are oftentimes the only person that they're going to ever see from the insurance company. Keep current on all your files and your diary notes. That's a real big thing, especially these days, keeping accurate notes in your file. If you get a rejected file, which you probably will, just make sure that you are correcting those each and every day. Don't let your rejected files pile up on you. First thing to do is get those done. Answer all your calls, your emails within 24 hours. That people are depending on you to call them back. They've called you, they need you to call them back. So call them back at the end of the day and no longer than 24 hours. You got to participate in all the CAT meetings. There'll be several of them, and you want to participate in all of them. No matter what time of day they are, book around them, schedule around them to make sure that you're working to make sure that you're participating in all the meetings. Cooperate and work with your team lead. Again, your team lead is going to be your go-to person. Step one, let's get organized. Organize before you leave. Make sure you've got all the clothing that you're going to need. Plan ahead for the job, weather and climate. I have left in the summertime and came home in the wintertime, so you've got to be prepared to have rain gear, cold weather clothing, warm weather clothing. Make sure you've got everything ready to go for that. All of your office supplies, make sure that you've got all that organized. And don't forget any kind of medicines that you need or personal items that you're going to have. Here's the list of tools and equipment and supplies. Obviously, we need a good working ladder. I would recommend a single and a two-story ladder. Have all your AC power inverters and everything that you're going to need traveling in your vehicles. Flashlights, headlamps are preferred. Again, you're going to be working in areas that may have no power for several days or weeks. Pitch gauge, shingle gauge, the Hague pitch gauge, shingle gauge. If you don't have those, you can order them from Hague. Good GPS system. Extra batteries for your camera, your digital tapes, and everything that you're going to need for battery operated, and take extra batteries, and a good backup memory card. Make sure your laptop is a good one. It's up to date. It's it's got all the updates on it. You take in extra extension cords, a reliable mobile internet source, an air card or a jetpack or something like that. Again, towers are down. Internet systems iffy at best, so make sure you've got good internet connections, a good reliable cell phone, something that you can use. It's up to date. It's not going to run out on you while you're gone. Good digital camera, a backup drive, or an online backup like a cloud type where you can back up your files. You got to pack your mobile office, so make sure you got your tables and anything that you might need with that, printers, copiers, scanners, and all the supplies that goes with that. Make sure your tool belt's ready to go. You got all your gauges, your chalk, everything that you're going to need there, and make sure you get your shingle gauge and pitch gauge because you're going to need them. Good tape measures, 30 foot, 100 foot, laser tapes. You need all of your tapes. I would recommend carrying overalls, coveralls, knee pads, gloves, again, flashlights and putty knives. You might be crawling in an area or getting into some really dirty areas, so throw your coveralls over your clothes, keep them safe, keep them clean. Carry around a change of clothes, in case something happens. You don't have to run back to the hotel, change your clothes. I carry a couple shirts every day. It gets hot out there, 120 degree roofs perhaps, and you're sweating pretty bad, so you want to take extra clothes. Hand wipes, sunscreen, bug spray, water bottles, and water. Carry a lot of water. Even if you're not thirsty, drink water. Don't get dehydrated out there. Carry a good first aid kit. You never know. Cougar paws, replacement pads for those, and your rope and harness. Again, can't emphasize enough water. And you should take cash because, again, power's out. ATMs may not be working in the CAT area, so you're going to need some cash. Good cell phone, chargers, roof chalk, soapstone, rubber boots, all of those type of things. I would take extra fuel if you can. If you have, 5 or 10 gallon fuel portable, take that for gas and different things like that. On your office equipment, you make sure that your computer, again, is up to date. You're ready to go. Printers, paper, scanners, calculators, office supplies, folders, business cards. Make the business cards real simple. Your name, phone number, email. That's all you need on a business card. Your software. Make sure your Xactimate subscription is up to date. Your Xactimate is up to date. 28 is what we normally use these days. Your Word programs, Excels, your software, your mapping, Google Maps, make sure that's all ready to go and up to date. Okay, consider this. Your lodging, that's a big thing. You're going, but where are you going and where are you going to stay? Motels get expensive. Sometimes Airbnbs are really good. Sometimes you buddy up with another adjuster. You share an apartment. So, consider your lodging and consider that you're going to have to move. You may have to move So when you book your reservations or where you're going to stay, make sure that you communicate to them that you are an adjuster, that you may have to wheels up and go someplace else in a very short time. So be flexible with that. Now, once you get to the city, I would recommend driving around a little bit. Make sure you're familiar with the area, that you know where you're working. Talk to some local people about any roadblocks, detours, those kind of things. They often know a way to get around those. Locate the most important facilities, such as laundromats, grocery stores, maybe FedEx drop-offs if you have to drop off an ITEL sample or something of that nature. Make sure you know where these things are at. Big thing is you got to be self-contained for 2 to 3 weeks. So you want to try to take extra fuel, food, water, batteries, all of those things. And as far as food goes, take dry foods where you can just kind of warm it up if you need to, or something that you can, that will, canned goods that will hold for a while. Now, you're probably going to be sent to an orientation on-board meeting. You may or may not be given an office location to report to for orientation, but oftentimes there is an orientation point and you've got to go there first. This may or may not be the area you work in. So you may wind up in one city for the orientation and be dispatched to the city that you're going to work. So again, be flexible with that. Make sure you are alert. Pay attention during the orientation. You're going to get critical information during that time, so be ready. I even take a tape recorder sometimes with me and just tape the whole thing. That way you can replay it back and get, remember things that you might have not written down or forgotten. It's very important to follow the guidelines for the area you are working in, and it will be discussed. So take a lot of notes. Again, depending on the state, the county, there might be city ordinances or different things like that you may be aware of. But they will give you the client protocols for the client you'll be working. You are responsible for following the guidelines and the claim handling practices. So it's these orientations are very critical. That's where you'll usually be assigned your team lead as well. Now, the CAT expectations, the storm site expectations, make sure that when you schedule, you arrive on time, and you remain until you are released. So this is for the CAT, not your inspections, rather. So if you have an orientation or if you're supposed to be someplace, make sure that you arrive on time. And remember, you cannot be released from the storm. You just can't go home when you want to. You have to be released or get permission to do so. Expect to work very long hours. I mean, like 14, 16-hour days, 7 days a week for a long time. So take care of yourself. Drink a lot of water. Eat as often as you can. Get as much sleep as you can, but you're going to be working a lot of hours. Attend all the meetings in person and or in conference calls. And again, your housing is up to you. You make your arrangements with your own housings. By all means, protect your laptop and equipment. I can't tell you how many people get out there. There's a lot of things happening on these storms. There is a lot of theft. There's a lot of people that are looking for, vulnerable people like yourself who are from out of town. They're watching your license plates. We've heard about more laptops getting stolen out of people's cars and trucks than you can imagine. So keep everything locked down. Check your email frequently. I mean, like 2, 3, 4 times a day frequently. Respond to all the correspondence within 24 hours, and I would say within 12 hours. Make voice-to-voice contact with a policyholder on every claim as soon as possible. So that's real important to once you get your claims, to call everybody. We'll talk about that in a second. Maintain professional attitude with all internal and external customers. Now, I would say this, in about week 2, 3, you're going to start getting tired. Sometimes we get a little cranky. Stay professional. Don't take things personal. There's a lot of emotions flying around at these times, and you can get bombarded. Correct your your rejected files within 24 hours. Again, we've talked about that. That's very important. Be accurate on all of your invoicing. Make sure if you have a corrected file, change your invoice to reflect the new GCA. Review client instructions all the time. So, make sure that if you've got a few minutes in between inspections, review the client instructions. Make sure you've got everything down. Return any supplies provided by Worley prior to leaving the CAT site. So if you are issued any type of equipment, make sure you get that back before you leave the work site. Okay, now what kind of types of claims are we going to have? You may have a variety. Most of the time they're going to be homeowner policies, but you might get some business owners. You might get some commercial claims. You may get a flood claim, and depending on the storm we're working, earthquake, even auto. But most of the time we're just dealing with CAT claims on these things. Just to reiterate some things that in our business you'll hear a lot of acronyms. So if you hear these acronyms, just a reminder, this is what they are. FNOL, first notice of loss. The deck sheet is the declaration document in the file. Date of loss, ACV, replacement costs, GLR or loss report, general loss report, your gross claim amount, your GCA, overhead and profit, O&P, CWOP, close without payment. So just, you'll hear these acronyms a lot. Organization. Organize. When you get to the place that you're going to stay, organize your office before you get your field work going. Set up a work area in your hotel room. Make sure that it's going to be your office. You're going to spend a lot of time there, so keep it organized. Map out the area you will work by zip code. So in exact analysis, you can take and you can map out all of your claims in the map location in exact analysis. So locate, map them all out. Prioritize your claims based on severity and need. So in your first notice of loss, your FNOL, it's going to give you a severity of claims. So if you see 1 and 2, that's not high severity. If you see 4 and 5, you need to get to them first, call them first, and find out what's happening. Set inspections so you can work specific areas each day. So, again, try not to backtrack. You drive out 50 miles over here, you come back 30 miles over here, you go 50 miles back over there. So, try to be efficient in the way that you map things out. And just get familiar with the area, the roads, the highways, the hazards, the constructions, the detours, the washed out roads. Again, sometimes the locals will help you out very much so in understanding how to get around. Now, just to show you, this is the claim cycle process. So, the insurance carrier receives the claim notice from the insured. They call in to the insurance company. They're going to triage that, and they're going to send that claim out to either the specialty units or us, the independent adjuster firm, Worley. So when we get it from the carrier, after they've triaged it, we're going to assign it to you, the adjuster. That's when you review the claim, make contact, schedule the inspection, go inspect the inspection, and then when you've finished with it, it's going to go back to the examiner. That's the Worley QA department. So they are going to QA your file, give it a quality assurance look over. If there's anything that is not correct, they're going to send it back to you. You will have 24 hours to correct that file and send it back to them. Once they approve it, they'll send it to the carrier. So that's how that works. You're not really working directly with the carrier. You're working with our inside examiners. And this is how the information comes through you. Everything pretty much comes through exact analysis. So when you connect to exact analysis, it will come into your Xactimate. That's when you're going to look at the loss report and make contact with the insured. And then you're going to load a package with your invoice, your loss report, your estimate, and any miscellaneous documents. You'll load it through Xactimate and connect, and then go back to XactAnalysis, which then our desk adjusters will look at it, and they'll either send it back to you for corrections or they'll forward it on to the carrier. Keep yourself organized with folders. So you should have a folder either on your desktop or the good old-fashioned manila folders of the carrier folder. This will have all the important information of the carrier. Remember, you might be working more than one. And then inside that, you'll have the carrier information, all the protocols, procedures, guidelines, best practices. And then inside that, you'll have your open claims. That's the claims you're working on. Once you close them, you want to move that over to your closed claim file. And you'll keep those for a while because you may, have a revision that the inside desk adjuster at the carrier needs for you to make, and then you can go back and find that claim and keep that. Inside the open claims, use your folders, photo folders, your general loss narratives, your service invoice, and your miscellaneous documents. Keep yourself organized. Preparation. I think it was Ben Franklin said that, if we fail to prepare, we have prepared to fail. So preparation, effectiveness equates to preparation. The claim you're working is your most important claim. Each insured has to be treated this way. Every claim is unique. No two claims are the same. So plan each loss inspection based on its own circumstances. Now, I want to pause here and say this. We're all excited about the storm. We have potential of making a lot of money. Keep in mind, though, these people have lost their homes or they're severely damaged, and there is high stress. They are counting on you to do the right thing and to be right on what you do. So have empathy to the policyholder. Be sympathetic to their conditions. This is all not all about the money. This is about restoring them to a pre-loss condition. So be effective. Be prepared. You're going to face a lot of emotions. It can be a high stress situation. The loss assignment. Okay, let's take a look at that. Reviewing the loss assignment. So you want to look at the policy and the claim numbers, the effective date of the policy, insured's name, address, contact numbers, and the email, and the cause of loss. Now remember, the location of the loss may be different than the insured's address, such as a rental or a vacation property. So in other words, there's a mailing address and there's the loss address or the risk address. Make sure you're going to the risk address for the inspection and not the mailing address. There's a policy form, which would be an HO3, a DP1, DP3, so HO8. So make sure you're working the right policy form. Check the limits of the policy. Make sure that you know what the dwelling, other structure, personal property, additional living expenses are. Check for any endorsements that they might have. It gives them additional coverage. Check the deductible. Make sure you've got that correct. The mortgage is very important. Confirm the mortgage with the insured and make sure you note that in the general loss narrative that you did confirm the mortgage as whatever it is with the insured and name the insured. And if there's any special instructions that has been sent along with this claim, sometimes they want you to do specific things for a specific file. So just make sure that you're following all the instructions. Mapping things out. So this is important. Use your time to your advantage. Time used to map out losses saves time in the long run. So again, there's a feature in XactAnalysis. You can map out all of your claims. Try not to backtrack. Allow for traffic, detours. Again, the first week or two could be very hectic. These are the standards. You have 24 hours to contact the insured, and on some cases in a CAT environment, we have 48. 72 to 96 hours for the inspection, 85% of the claims need to be closed within 3 days. So once you inspect, close the claim within 3 days. So if you get 10 claims, you're going to go inspect them all. So in the first week, you should have those pretty much done. Make appointments for what you can write that day. Overbooking can lead to problems. So in other words, write what you inspect the same day. So if you're a newer adjuster, you can only do 1 a day, fine, no problem. Work towards getting 2 done per day down the road. If you're more experienced, you can handle 3 or 4, great. But just don't go out and run 7 inspections and then get home late at night and then only upload 1 claim. By day 3, you could potentially be 15 claims behind, and that's not going to do you any favor at all. Contact. Remember, when you call that insured, this is your first chance to make a good first impression, okay? Contact with the policy holder is required and necessary. So you've got to call everybody first before you even begin to schedule. Introduce yourself, determine what happened, how extensive the damage is, what kind of roof do they have, what kind of ladder will you need. Set the expectations as to how the claim process will proceed. So tell them what you're going to do and make sure that they understand, what you want them to do. If there's contents damage, you can have them begin to work out the content sheets. You can email them the contents sheet. They can begin working on that. If they have any documentation, make sure they have a copy of it before you get there. Here's a good way to schedule. Mondays and Tuesdays are field days. Wednesdays is an office day. That gives you a chance to catch up anything that you haven't gotten to on Monday and Tuesday and schedule new inspections. Thursday and Friday, another field days. Saturday, maybe a half a day in the field. The afternoon is your office day. And Sundays are pretty much office days. But, if you're rolling good, people want to see you, you have a high risk, be flexible. Inspect on Sundays, of course. And this is the way to schedule. You'll see the overlap here, 8 to 10, 9 to 11, 10 to 12, 11 to 1, 12 to 2. So this will give you 5 inspections. And what happens is you start your first one at 8. You might get finished by 9. Well, you can go ahead and start your second one. And it gives you this 2-hour window. Maybe it takes you 2.5 hours on your first one, but you can still arrive at 11 o'clock on your second one. So see how it works. So that's a good way. And just tell them, I'll be there between these hours if there's any question. Always set inspections with a 2-hour arrival window to allow time for traffic or longer than expected appointments. So if you are running early or running late, call the insured and let them know. Hey, I scheduled at 8. I scheduled this at noon, but I've got the first 2 done already. I can actually be there at 9:30. So call them. Or if you're running late, give them a call. Be safe out there. That's the key. Just take precautions in all you do. And that's really about all I have for you here today on this video. I just wanted to make sure that you understood, what to expect, out the gate. We really appreciate you working for Worley. This is a big deal, and there's going to be a lot of things come at you. So in the first week or 2 specifically, it gets really, really crazy. Your team lead is your lifeline. Reach out, call. If you have a problem, give your manager a call. Let's stay on top of it. If you get too many claims, don't be afraid to say, I've got too much work. I can't get this done. Can you take 10 claims off of me? Don't be afraid to say that. I would rather for you to do that as you getting calls every day. Where's your claims? Where are your claims? Where are your claims? So just work together. We work together as a team at Worley. We appreciate you working for us, and if there's anything we can do, we are here for you. So be safe out there, and safe travels.